Sentire Media.
Last week, a sweeping change to Italy's citizenship law has rocked communities around the world, especially for those of you tracing your roots back to Italy and dreaming of reconnecting through citizenship. I'm Samantha Wilson, and this is a New Life in Italy special report. In this report, how Italy moves to tighten its citizenship rules will impact you, who it affects, what you can do now, and why this moment is more than just a policy change. All right, let's talk about it because this one is big. For years, Italy had one of the most generous citizenship laws in the world. You didn't need to speak Italian, you didn't need to live in Italy, you just had to prove your bloodline, and boom, welcome to the European Union. But now the government's moving to shut that door, tightening access to only those with a parent or a grandparent born in Italy. Full stop. So what happened and why now? Well, let's start from the top. In 1992, Italy passed a law recognizing jure sanguinis. This is citizenship by blood, with no generational limit. It was groundbreaking. If you had an Italian ancestor alive at or after the unification of Italy in 1861, and they never renounced their Italian citizenship before the next generation was born, well, you could claim your Italian citizenship, even if that connection was through your great-grandparent or in some cases, great-great-grandparent. Citizenship by descent exploded, especially in countries with deep Italian roots, like Argentina, Brazil, the US, and even Canada. But that popularity created pressure. Tens of thousands of people applied every single year. Now here's how Reuters reported it. In Argentina alone, recognitions jumped from 20,000 in 2023 to 30,000 in 2024. And Brazil saw a rise to 20,000 from only 14,000. So municipal offices were becoming overwhelmed. And suddenly what had been a niche pathway to citizenship turned into what some politicians called a loophole. So when Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani called it a distortion of law and said people were using it as a backdoor to EU benefits without a real connection to Italy, he wasn't talking to Italians in Italy. He was talking to you. And so they changed it. Under the proposed law, which still needs final approval in 60 days, Italy would restrict automatic recognition of citizenships to those with a parent or grandparent born in Italy. Now that's a massive change. And to help us untangle all of this, I spoke with Terry Wilson, our head citizenship researcher here at Smart Move Italy, and someone who spent years studying these laws up close. Terry, welcome back to the podcast. Let's start simple. What exactly is this new law proposing?
Yeah, the new law has several components, and it's unfortunately a fairly vague decree. It's essentially a half to 3/4 of a page long, but it proposes a lot of different things. Things like there's going to be a centralized approval base, I guess you could call it, for citizenship. Instead of now the consulates approving it, there's going to be at some time in the future, a central place where all citizenship is going to be approved. The approval will happen within a 48-month period. There's some rules changes to how children get citizenship from a parent who is a citizen. But the biggest change of all is putting a generational cap on who you can rely on as your Italian lira, your last Italian residential ancestor. And the thing that affects most people is the fact that now it's only going to be grandparents and parents, and your great-grandparent is no longer going to be.
And this is what the massive change really is.
Yeah, and it affects a lot of people. When you look at immigration or emigration from Italy they call the Great Emigration, it happened between about 1880 to about 1920, 1930, 1940. That's when a lot of Italians left and found new homes in the United States, Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Canada, Australia. And now what they're saying is that some of those people that moved, if they moved earlier, are not going to be seen as being able to pass on their Italian citizenship, although they were moving for a better life somewhere else in the world, because now they're great grandparents to somebody. And it really affects, like, to get it sort of into the real weeds of the problem is, like, you could have a file, or we have files, where one of the clients is the lira they're depending on is their grandparent. But that means their children aren't included because their children's lira would be a grandparent. So not only does it affect individual files, but it affects the quality of files inside each file as well. So it's massively disrupting to the whole process, outside of the fact of the legality of that decree. And that's something that, I'm sure you're going to have a lawyer talk about.
Yes, it does. So there's, families who, let's face it, Italy is all about preserving family ties and family relationship and bloodline. If you were born Italian, you were always Italian. So there is a disruption, not just in full families wanting to get their citizenship all together, but also in this whole idea that you're now telling me that I am not Italian, where I was yesterday.
Yeah, and the simple fact is one of the constitutional arguments, which, a lawyer more educated than I am is going to talk about, is the fact that the law today is removing away the rights of somebody had 50 years ago. If you were born 50 years ago, you were born Italian. How is it possible that a law today can strip you of your rights that you had 50 years ago? And again, that's a decision that a court's going to have to make. But I mean, it really affects a lot of people, like a lot of people. And, it's a giant scramble right now to figure out who it affects and how you go forward.
Okay, so what is your message to someone right now who has been working on their documents and thinking that they have lots of time to wait and to keep moving forward?
Yeah, it's a position that you never wanted to be in, a week ago. But if you're in this position now, you're going to have to hold fast. Don't make any rash decisions because, again, nothing gets done in Italy quickly. This is at the infancy stage of this decree, of this sort of belief by the government. It's going to get reformed a little bit in the future. And so therefore, it's going to get reformed June 24th. 2025 with a constitutional argument in front of the Constitutional Court. It's going to get reformed again probably sometime in October when one of these cases goes to the Constitutional Court or goes to a court and then to the Constitutional Court. So these decisions are going to be made over the course of the next year, if not longer. And as a result, don't lose heart. Like, stay fast and wait for some solid decision to be made. We have different milestones. 60 days from now, we have to see if this decree is going to hold fast. June 24th, we're going to have to see if a constitutional argument is going to be made, and so on and so on. So what I'm going to say right now is just hold fast and wait for the final decision to be made, the final argument to be made that affects your case.
All right, so that's the research and the public sentiment, but now let's bring on the legal side. Arturo Grasso is an Italian attorney and citizenship specialist who's helped thousands of people obtain their Italian passports. Arturo, thank you for joining us. I understand the decree is active as of March the 27th, but the law hasn't officially passed yet. But if it does, how soon would it go into effect?
Hello, Samantha. Hello, everyone. Law decree is active right away from the same day it was passed. It was signed by the President Mattarella and published in the law journal, the Gazette, which made it effective because the law decree itself states that it's effective immediately. It's a procedure that the Constitution allows in case of emergency. In an emergency condition, the government takes the lead and passes right away something to make order. Whether this was not the condition, as most believe, the fact is that Tajani went on and passed this law. The reason being that there is millions of Italian descendants who are applying And Tajani said also in his press conference that there are scams, there are people that are, just bending the law or making invalid documentation. And that was one of the reasons. The other reason was small municipalities suffering of carry on this process. And, every document must be recorded in Italy. So some small municipalities are overwhelmed and burnt out with so many applications. It's effective immediately. And it's going to be void if within 60 days it's not approved by the parliament.
Do you expect it to be approved?
Yes, because Tajani, today the right party has the majority, both in the Senate and the deputy chambers. So it's gonna pass. And in reality, there's not a real public consensus of what's going on. Very few people are bringing up the issue, and the way it's put by politicians is really against the Italian descendants. Maybe they're going to put some amendments to make it not so critical, not so strict, to allow for some, or thinking that something must be fixed, like, minor children.
And this is very impactful for the, for all of the Italian descendants.
Destructive.
Now, would this apply retroactively to people who have already applied, or only for future applicants?
Well, the law decree specifically states that it does not apply to cases in court, application before the consulate, and application with a municipality up to the date on March 27. So the day before the decree, every application is safe. Is going to be viewed and scrutinized according to the past law provisions.
Now, this date, March 27th, is pretty important. So do you think that if they make any changes to this law within 60 days, they might move that date? They might change those goalposts?
That might be possible. I believe this is one of the possibilities, and they may change it even to give you some more time allowance for the future. This might be due to arguments that, coming from Italian descendants, from the pressure from politicians.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps this is one of the critical parts of it as well, aside from the fact that it's overturning really the way that citizenship has been done for many, many years, is that people, in particular people who have arrived here now or are planning to arrive here in the very near future to move to Italy, to apply for citizenship, have invested a lot of time and money and plans, and this is now just suddenly overnight changed. Was there any anticipation of this coming, or was it a real shock to everyone?
A real shock to everyone. Just came from the blue, and no idea. There were some draft of bill under discussion in Senate. There was also Tajani saying that he wanted to change. He made like a Word document proposal was going around in the media, but that was all. And in reality, the citizenship matter is such an important matter for a state and for all the population and for every person that must be decided properly. So one would expect that the matter was discussed in the parliament at length, listen to minority and whatever politician association was involved in this in citizenship matter, using an instrument like a law degree for emergency is really something overnight. And there was an expectation, perhaps not on purpose, because otherwise people would hurry to apply.
Sure. Yes. If there was some, whispering that this was going to come down, I'm sure there'd be a run on applications, which again goes against the purpose. So can people still go through the judicial route? Because I know this is what you do. You go to court for Italian citizenship. So is there still an opportunity for that?
Yes, always. Going to the judicials, the judicials is to challenge a right. Now, what changes from the day 28 is the crossroad. The government believes that the crossroad on the day 28 is the application. So the government says on day 28, if you did not apply, the applicable law is the law degree and the future conversion law.
That's the
Citizenship
line in
attorneys
the sand.
say, yeah, but citizenship attorneys say, no, the 28 is not that. It's just a different date of birth. So newborn people may apply the new law degree if that would be the Italian future citizenship law. So the difference is that in our perspective, in attorney's perspective, an Italian descent has already acquired citizenship by birth. And the law cannot be retroactive to strip the citizenship away because they were born with Italian citizenship and they still carry on with Italian citizenship forever.
Can't go overnight and just say that's changed now, you are no longer Italian.
Yeah, but they overnight trying to say whoever has not mentioned this, that they are citizen of Italy to the government, they have lost their citizenship, which is, there are two different levels. One is a right, a fundamental right, and the other one is an administrative acknowledgement of someone being living and holding Italian citizenship. So if we go from today, let's say with a new case to court, we have two options. One option is to say, okay, someone who was a grandmother, father, we can say, okay, we go on with the new law degree. Not everyone has the such a lineage, the perfect lineage. There are very few actually with no children, because if you have children, that changes a lot. However, but people with a great-grandfather or with great-grandchildren, we would assume today, if they were born on the date of 27, to still apply the previous law because they get citizenship under the previous law. It has no effect on the case that the government did not know or did not acknowledge that. That's a different level. Does not, cancel the right. That's the difference in perspective. So we go to court today and we go to court with cases to say to the judge, the government had no right to take away citizenship from these people because they had from their right, since they were born.
Okay. One last question, Arturo, before I let you go. I know you're very busy right now. There's been a lot of talk about preserving Italian identity through these changes. But from a legal perspective, what do you say to someone who feels like this law has just erased all of their connection to Italy?
It's not a general sentiment in Italy. It's especially for all those people who have connection with immigrants and with people abroad. I've read comments from politicians who disagree from both right and left party who have connection. They know that immigrants, from our perspective, immigrants from the US perspective, immigrants, they made this country, they helped this country, they made this journey, live in the country and send all the remittance back to Italy to repair houses, to grow children, to help Italy. And Italy survived because of people living, less pressure, less competition, work competition, and at the same time money, and even helping during the Second World War. So it's something. Italy. I read a very good comment saying this law degree cancels 170 years or more of history, of Italian history or immigration. It's so bad. It makes so many people feel bad about it. I'm a son of an immigrant, so I share the same feeling.
Right.
I know what it means, and Italy is Italy not just because Italy has monuments, has the beautiful sightseeing. Yes, it's true. Tourists come and they like it. But Italy is Italy also because there are little communities all around the world. They enjoy being Italian. They have events. They have talking publications and stuff. Italy is Italy also because people have Italians living next door, but Italian, not Italian born yesterday. Italian descent, Italian communities, and Italy is Italian because people have Italian colleagues, especially in a country where the new-made countries, and people still recognize themselves like being Irish, Italian, Danish, Polish. So Italy is Italy. That brings a lot of community.
So where does this leave us? Well, here's what I can tell you with 100% certainty. If you already qualify under the current law, you have choices. If you have a comune or consulate case and have already applied, you're safe. If you have a comune or consulate case and have not applied, then you must wait to see if the law passes in 60 days. If it does, then your only recourse is court later down the road. If you already have a court case and have filed the petition in court, you're safe. If you have not filed and your case is ready for court, then you can file within the next 60 days. This is not a guarantee, but they may move the goalposts from March 27th to a later date, leaving you a window of opportunity. If you're not ready for court, then you will have to hold until a decision has been made in the coming months and years. But don't quit. Your rights as an Italian citizen are being challenged, and it's important that you continue to fight back. Italy's citizenship rules have always been generous, and for many of you, they've been more than paperwork. They've been a bridge to your ancestors, to a country that has shaped who you are. Now that bridge is under construction, but it's not gone, not yet. And if you're ready to make your move to claim your Italian roots, this is the moment to act. I'm Samantha Wilson, and this is A New Life in Italy special report. Big thanks to Terry Wilson and attorney Arturo Grasso for joining me today. If you've got questions about your own case or need help getting started, head over to smartmoveitaly.com and we'll help you figure out if your door is still open and how to walk through it. Ciao for now.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.